Catch Texas in Color every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Ronald Gordon. I'm with Texas in Color, and we bring candidates on this program right here. So we get to know them, you get to know them. They can let you know what they're running for and their issues they have, the reason why they're running. We're just here to educate the community and the public out here on what's going on. And our guest today is Dawn Richardson. Good afternoon, I should say.
Good afternoon, sir.
So, how's everything going in your land today?
Very optimistic. Doing well.
Okay.
Doing well.
So, I gotta get my just one of these glitches in here. Okay, here we go. Okay. Um, can you tell us about yourself and what inspired you to pursue your current path?
A little bit about me. Again, my name is Dawn Richardson. I am a daughter of an Air Force veteran and a mother who was one of the first Black supervisors at Pan American Airlines when it was in existence. I am the wife of a retired Army veteran. I have two daughters, both grown. One graduated from Baylor University, the other one from St. John's University, and both are products of our public school system here. And I am a 39-year retired educator. I've taught in 4 different states. I've taught math and science from 7th grade all the way through 12th. And so that's a little bit about, I've lived in 4 different states. Um, where I've taught and met my husband in Hawaii. And
Okay.
then we moved back here to Texas where I've been for the last 30 years.
Okay. What motivates you to run for office?
Oh, politics is well, not politics, but what has gone on in our government and for the people has been a part of me as long as I can remember. Um, I was thinking back, and I had a friend in college who has since passed on, and he used to say that the two of us were going to run against each other for president. That's how involved we were in what was right and what was wrong. I mean, I've always been that person to stand up for what was right and what was wrong. Here, as throughout my career, I've been a member of the NEA since 1981. Throughout that career, I have been a local president of an affiliate here in Killeen, the Killeen Education Association. I have also been the chair of the TSTA, Texas State Teachers Association Black Caucus, as well as numerous other uh, organizations. Right now, I'm currently the president of the local exchange club, the Exchange Club of Killeen, which is part of the National Exchange Club. So being of service has always been a part of me. I was a part of this group uh, at Bell County Action Force, and they were talking about folks needed to run and how the stakes were high. And they started describing the person they need to look for to run for uh, against the incumbent in the position I'm in. And one of our local commissioners, Louis Minor, turned and said, "That sounds a lot like Dawn Richardson."
Oh.
So they all looked at me and they started asking me to run. And I said, "Well, wait, whoa, Um, and I said, so I had to go home and talk to my family. I mean, because I had already talked to God about this. So this came right up. I was like, whoa, it's kind of quick answer, Lord. But I talked to my family and they were gung ho. In fact, my daughter, who's an entertainer, she's on a cruise ship. She sent me a 4-page document the next morning on how to run a campaign. I mean, so family is all in, but I'm still hesitant. I'm still hesitant. So then the incumbent had a town hall, and I got to ask a question, which surprised me because they had only said 3, but I guess he saw my hand up. We know each other. So again, I'm not running against him. I'm just running against what he stands for. And the way he answered my question motivated me to turn to my friends and say, yes, I'll run.
Mm.
That's serious. Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay, what are the most pressing issues facing your constituents of District 54, and how you plan to address them if elected?
Sir, in this process, I am learning so much. I have been blessed to talk to so many people. The most pressing one right now is our education system, uh, and what the state itself is trying to do to it, and or what it's not doing for it. And so that comes up a lot. People are very concerned. You know, every parent wants the best for their child, but they also want the strongest public school system that they can have. And so that has been a major pressing issue. Another pressing issue is, our crime rate. But again, a lot of people even attach that to, if people don't have choices, if people are not getting the education they need, these are the kinds of outcomes we may have. So it all ties back to making sure that we have that solid foundation in our educational system. Some of the other things that I've heard, are healthcare. We have major problems with healthcare and affordability. I know so many people who are still working because if they retire, they cannot afford health insurance.
Mm.
We shouldn't have that. I even had a police officer tell me about one of the things he said, could you please look into with when we get you elected, is when we retire as police officers, we don't have a system like the teachers have in TRS to be able to buy a health insurance. We have to buy from the local municipalities. He said, and it's astronomical. He said, and this is why a lot of police officers are not retiring, or if they are, they're having to pick up another job. So we're looking at those things. People talk about the economy and jobs, and we do have that issue too. With jobs. But again, I would say right now, the most pressing issue that I am finding amongst the majority of folks is our educational system and protecting it.
Okay. District 54 has seen growth in recent years. What are your
Yes.
plans for improving infrastructure, transportation, and services to meet the needs of the growing population?
Well, one of the things I want to see more of is our local municipalities, our local council, working with us at the state level, because there are some things we can't do. For example, like there are different roads here, and I'm finding out that the city controls, that the county controls, that the state controls. And so I think I really want to be able to talk and work with folks to find out exactly one of the pressing issues. And I just heard this yesterday talking to a nursing home resident. He can leave the nursing home in his wheelchair. He said, but there's no sidewalks. And he said, so to get to Walmart and different places, he's literally riding in his wheelchair down the middle of the road in the turn lane.
Ooh.
And that's just so dangerous. And my heart just broke. So I came home and I immediately texted my county commissioner and asked who controls that road. And he said the state. Even though it's in the middle of the city, it's a state run road. So that's something I'm going to look into when I get there, to fight for that infrastructure so that we can get sidewalks on that road. So that man and many others don't have to be putting their lives in danger on a 4-lane highway.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
How will you
Yes.
how will you support economic development in District 4, particularly for small business and local industries?
Well, I want to see, the state has a $32 billion surplus. I would love to see some of that money go into grants to fund small businesses as startups. I know our vice president, who's running for president, has talked about that. And I thought that was a great idea, where you can get these $25,000 grants or more to help these small businesses flourish. I would love to see, especially where we have areas that businesses unfortunately have gone out of business or have left the area, being able to renovate those areas and bring businesses into those areas that would service the needs of that community. We have a community on our north side that's what we call a food desert because there's no major grocery chain over there. Now, we
Mm.
can't force anybody to be there, but we can build it up and make it appetizing for a smaller grocery chain to come in there and service those people. So we have to work again hand in hand with the city and say, hey, what can I do at the state level that will help augment what you're doing at the local level to bring in businesses and support businesses that are already here or are trying to be here.
Okay. What is your stance on public education funding in Texas, and how would you work to improve educational outcome in District 54?
Ooh, first of all, education is very important to me. It's been my lifeblood. It's been my livelihood. It's been my life for 39 years. One of the things when I first got to Texas that concerned me, and I've been talking about it for a long time, is how little, and folks don't realize, that the local entities have over their public school systems. You know, people say, oh, they're independent ISDs to a point. You have the TEA and all and our governor and our legislature all in our business. So if you're going to be in our business, then let's fund us properly. And one of the things that they're pushing right now are vouchers. And I can tell you, as a private school product, as a teacher who worked in both public and private schools, I have nothing against private entities. What I do have against is taking public funds and funding private entities, especially when there is no accountability to the state or anyone else for the use of those funds. So I want to see those monies be put into the public school system. I want to see funding increases for both staff, all staff, as well as per pupil spending, because the resources necessary for our children to succeed in the next generation is not there. You know, employers constantly complain that our students aren't coming job ready. Well, we don't have the resources to help make them job ready. We don't have the autonomy to make them job ready. When you have teachers teaching to a test because they have to teach this, that, and the other, and we only have like 50 minutes a period to do this in a
Mm-hmm.
180-day school year, it's not going to get a whole lot accomplished. You try. And I can tell you, I have seen teachers work miracles with our students, given the limited resources they have. But we have to shore that up. We have to get our legislature to actually understand what it takes to educate a child. This is a human being. It's not a car that you put together. It's an actual human being that thinks, walks, and has a life of its own, and you put 30 or more of those in the same room, and you ask one person to take care of all those personalities,
Yeah.
that's difficult. That is difficult. Not that it doesn't get done, but it's difficult and it's draining. And this is why we're losing so many teachers, because it's burnout, trying to be everything to everyone. So we've got to get those resources where we can get those classes smaller. We've got to get those resources so that our kids can have the hands-on to the same kinds of tools that they're going to have out there in the workforce. We have here in Killeen, we have a career center. I'd love to see that career center grow and have more opportunities for those kids. You know, they come out of there with certificates and all kinds of wonderful job-ready skills.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get those kinds of programs everywhere and expand them. You know, we talk about educating every child. Let's have the resources to do that.
Yeah. I yeah, I agree with you on that one. But you led right into the next question about school vouchers, and but how would you get funding to adequately support um, private schools, public schools,
Public schools.
your public schools?
First of all, one, let's stop the voucher program. Okay, let's you know that's not going to solve any problems. In fact, it's going to create more. The ones that I have studied, the states that have them, there's no measurable difference after the vouchers between the public school students and the private school students. So it's not something that's going to improve our educational system. Second of all, you've got states like Arizona who are talking about going bankrupt due to this voucher system. They've had to cut essential programs out of their budget because of the voucher system. And now they're even finding that some of those parents, because they're already in private schools, 70% of the vouchers go to students who are already in private schools, are saving that money for their children's college. So again, these are folks that didn't need the money. And so why are we putting money over there? So with that said, what I would love to see is that $6 billion that was put in the bill to sweeten the deal to pass vouchers when the committee stripped out that portion of the voucher amendment. My opponent then pulled the bill back because he is the author of the voucher bill. He pulled it back. I want that $6 billion and more back on the table. I want to sponsor a bill where we get that funding back into the bill so that we can increase per pupil spending. We spend 5,000 less than the national average on children. We need to get that up to at least the national average. We spend 9,000 less on our educators than the national average. We need to get that up to at least the national average, if not better. So we need to get that money in. And then we also need to rework the recapture system, because there are a lot of districts such as Austin who are paying an extraordinary amount of money into recapture. And that money is not going to the poorer districts like it should be. We need to look at that recapture system, because there are districts who are getting that money that shouldn't, and then rework it so that districts that really need it get it and get the money. Not that the state holds it, get the money, because we want to bring all of our educational systems up. You know, at the state level, that's what we should be working for as a state. Let's bring them all up. So this rich district over here who can afford all of these things should not be affecting this poor district over here. They should be getting the same amount of things. Those kids should have an equal chance. Our rural kids should have an equal chance at a quality education. And that can only happen if we sit down and do the work to rework the system, to make sure that the equity is built in that should be, and that the state follows through and gives those districts that money.
What steps will you, excuse me, what steps will you take to improve access to health care, particularly for underserved communities in District 54?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Thank you. I talked to a gentleman, a Republican gentleman at that, who works for the state. And he told me that if the state would spend just 7 more cents, per person on healthcare, on indigent healthcare, he said we would effectively cover just about everyone in the state. We are the 9th largest economy in the world. Not the states, in the world. There is no reason that anyone should be struggling with healthcare. We need to start regulating our insurance companies and see exactly if they're paying and doing what they say they are. People are paying an astronomical amount for health insurance and then are denied care because we don't cover that, or that medicine is not approved. This all needs to stop. If you're going to insure somebody, insure them. They should be able to choose and get the medicines, et cetera, that they need. That should not be an insurance company's call. That should be a doctor and the patient call. We need to then make sure that we put that extra 7 cents so that we can get health care in those areas where it's needed. There are a lot of rural communities that don't have access to health care. They have to drive hours to get to it. That should not be. We need satellites in all of these small areas. No one should have to drive over 30 minutes to get the care that they need. Again, a daunting task? Yes. Can it be done? Absolutely. But we have to concentrate on our people and stop worrying about what's happening everywhere else. We need to concentrate on what's happening right here in the state of Texas and making our state the great place that it should be.
Do you support Medicaid expansion in Texas? Why or why not? And how do you think it would impact the people of District 54?
First of all, yes, I do. I do support any program that is going to better the least among us. When we help the least among us, we all benefit. When you have a person who, again, is not getting the health care that they need, and it gets critical mass and they have to go in and they don't have insurance, we all pick up that tab anyway. So we're going to pay one way or another, aren't we? So
Mm-hmm.
we might as well look at the programs that are there, such as Medicaid, expand it, and make sure that it's accessible. Let's get rid of some of the hoops that it takes to get on it. Make sure that people who get it really need it, and make sure that it's available to them. And that goes right here. We have a free clinic, but we need those resources. We need Medicaid because there are a lot of people I can tell you personally that don't have any kind of health insurance and are praying every day that nothing happens to them. They can't afford it. And so if we could expand Medicaid and they could get it, then that means that's just that many more people who are going to be more mentally with you in a job, working for you in a job, and giving you their best as opposed to worrying about what can happen around the corner. See, we benefit. We don't understand. We would benefit from that. Being proactive with healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how many diseases and how many things we could prevent if we were more proactive instead of reactive.
Okay. Um, Texas has increased discussion around voter suppression. What would you do to ensure that every eligible voter in District 54 has access to the polls?
One, we need more polls. But the problem is now is finding people to work. So we not only need more polls, but we need more security at those polls because in this climate it is so unfortunate, the anger, the folks lashing out at each other because you don't vote like me, you don't want the same things I want, instead of understanding that we all have differences and we are allowed to vote for and believe in what we want to as long as it doesn't hurt you. We're not coming in your house and doing anything to you, so we should be able to vote the way we choose. But you got folks who are trying to intimidate folks at the polls, um, folks walking around on the outskirts with guns and carrying on, thinking that this is okay, and it's not. So we need more polls. We need more access to those polls. We already have to show an ID. So this thing about folks with ID and all of this, I'm not sure where all that came from because I've had to show an ID as long as I can remember to
Yeah.
vote. So you already have a valid ID. Some state agency gave it to you. So why are we questioning this? Oh, we got illegals voting. They have to have a state ID to go vote, guys. So I think a lot of it that's out there is just fear and nonsense and folks not doing the research on their own. Um, and we've got to get through that. We've got to make sure that people are educated on why it's important to vote. Not who to vote for, that's a personal choice, but why it's important and what's at stake and how it affects them. Um, but we really do need to get rid of these voter suppression laws, these drop boxes. One drop box in Harris County, 2 million people. And they wanted one drop box in Harris County. Well, that might work in a county that only has 1,000 people or 500 people, because we do have various counties.
Yeah.
But one in Harris County, maybe if you said one drop box per 500 people, that would make it more equitable and make more sense. And so that's what we have to get to. We have to realize that we do have these varying degrees of sizes of districts, and we have to make sure that we have the resources for those various sizes instead of trying to find one fits all.
Yeah. Okay. How do you plan on addressing immigration and border security issues? And what is your stance on how these issues impact Texas and District 54?
Well, we're in Central Texas, so we what a lot of people here in this area is based on what they hear in the news. Is there an immigration problem? Again, because there's so much going on out there, some people will say yes. There are others who say no. I think it is up to our federal government to pass a border bill, one that they already had that was stopped from being passed, and apparently had everything in there that most of the conservatives wanted. I mean, there's no one bill that's ever going to fit everybody, but work on it. Let's get that passed, and let's look at what's necessary to do that. We also need to look at why are all these people trying to come? What are they fleeing from? And we need to work with those governments so that these folks don't want to leave home, that they want to stay in their own countries. But we are built on immigration. This is country of immigrants. Now, yes, some folks have been here a couple of generations, but when we look back, we are a country of immigrants. So we do want common sense immigration. Yeah, I don't want anybody coming in willy-nilly, but you got people coming in on the East Coast on planes, etc. You got folks coming from the North, in cars. Immigration is happening everywhere except, not just the southern border where all the attention is being focused. Those folks are not just the only immigrants we have. And when they do come to our cities and all, many of them are here because they want to work.
Mm-hmm.
They want a better life. Okay? When most of them you don't even hear from after they get here because they are just trying to fit in and do the best for their families and work. I mean, you think about all the ICE raids. Where do they normally occur? At a work location. So obviously they're working.
Yeah.
But we need to make sure, hey, okay, you're here. How did you get here? If you didn't come in right, hey, let's get it right. We need to add more border border patrols. We need more judges so that the process goes a lot quicker when these folks come in, and we can assess quicker whether they should be here allowed in or do they need to go back. But it needs to be fair. It needs to be fair, and we don't need to be separating families. I'm sorry, I don't believe in separation of families. Children need to, we claim we care so much about kids, and why are we separating kids from their families?
True.
And the biggest thing for me too is, please, let's look at these folks as people. They're
Mm-hmm.
immigrants, illegal or otherwise. They're immigrants. They're not illegal aliens. They're human beings who, for whatever reason, think they're going to have a better life here. What does that say about us? What does that say about us?
Do you support raising the minimum wage in Texas? What policies would you push to improve worker rights and wages?
Ooh, first of all, Texas is an at-will state, so we got a problem right there. I would love to see unions be able to collectively bargain with large corporations, with employers for workers' rights. Yes, I believe that the minimum wage should be raised. But more importantly, I would love to see employers do that on their own. I've had this fundamental discussion with folks on, well, Dawn, if they raise the minimum wage, I won't be able to afford to eat out. And I look at them and said, now how does that sound? Want to suppress another human being for your comfort. I said, so are they not supposed to be able to live and survive so that you can have a steak? I mean, really, talk to me on this. Well, Don, the minimum wage, those are supposed to be teenage jobs. I said, okay, so you don't want a coffee in the morning or at 12 in the afternoon when kids are supposed to be at school, right? I said, those are adults working in those jobs so that you can have your coffee at 5, 6, 7 in the morning, or you can have your fast food at 12 noon. Children are supposed to be in school at that time. So are you telling me those adults don't deserve a living wage? Oh, and I love this one. Well, they wanted to make more money, they would have gone to college.
Ooh.
So then if everybody goes to college, who's going to do those jobs? Guys, this is the melting point. All of our jobs are valuable. See, this is the thing. We got to realize that every piece of this is valuable. It's all what keeps our economy going. It all keeps our area going, our cities. You've got to have people in all positions. And for that, you need to pay them so they can live there. I met a young teacher for it, and I tell this story down in Austin. After I retired, I subbed in Austin a bit, and it was during testing time. We were the hall monitors, and we were talking about the next school year. And all of a sudden, her eyes started glistening, and she started crying, and she said, "I won't be here next year." And I said, "Why not?" She said, I can't afford my rent." She said, "They went up $600 on me and my roommate's rent." And she said, "And we haven't been able to find a place that we can afford." She said, "The closest place is 2 hours away." She said, "So I won't be able to stay at my school. And I really love my kids. I really love it here."
Hmm.
And that's not even minimum wage. That's a teacher. So we keep talking about, one, but we have to look at the whole picture. Why do we need to raise the minimum wage? Because people need to live. People need to be able to eat and survive. It should be a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Texas is a leader in energy production. What is your stance on balancing traditional energy industry and the growth of renewable energy in District 54?
First of all, I don't think you have to have a one-off. Some people want to say, "Oh, let's just get rid of gas and oil." I mean, that's going to eventually happen. Let's just keep it up. The way we're using our sources, everything can be finite. What's renewable is sun energy, wind energy, etc. So why not harness and use both? We need to think about the emissions that are happening in our atmosphere. We talk about all these respiratory ailments that are doubling in number, and you're seeing more and more asthmatics and et cetera. Well, there's a consequence to all of these emissions going in our atmosphere. We are having a water problem. Um, uh, Folks are getting very concerned about a water shortage because of the growth in Central Texas. Again, we have to come up with ways to conserve what we have, to reuse what we have. So, using that, backdrop, yes, let us look at using wind power and solar power. It's not going to happen overnight. Nobody's going to come along and take away anybody's gas guzzling car overnight. But we do have to look at the future. We do have to say, hey, let's look at what we have. How can we use it better? How can we even improve gas cars where they're utilizing less gas and going further? This is the beauty of innovation. We there should not be the scare tactics that we have to have a one-off. I do believe that both can be in existence at the same time, which they are right now. And over time, you might be using more one or the other, but even those industries who are in the gas and oil are looking at ways to expand their productions of wind and solar. So we need to stop being afraid of change. I remember we went from a horse and buggy to cars, right? And folks were a little concerned about that. Folks forget about all these changes that we've had, over the past 100 years. And I'm more than sure this is one of them. I'm more than sure this conversation you and I are having in 50 years, people will be like, "Oh, why did it take us so long?"
Yeah.
You know, Simple as that. So, but yeah, we're the issue here for us right now is looking at water as well
Okay.
and serving that. Yes.
Okay. How will you ensure that the voices of District 54 residents are heard in Austin? And how do you plan to stay engaged with the community throughout your term?
Ooh, that's a good question. First of all, as I tell everybody, I'm not in this for me. I'm in this for we. One of the things that I have been doing since campaigning is sitting and listening. I take notes. And when I hear something, I take a note and I go and ask the powers that be. I want to be that person that folks are not afraid to call, not afraid to contact, and I will get back to them. And I've already done that. My information is on the back of my card, and I can tell you I've had several folks call and use it and ask questions and tell me things that I didn't know. Yeah, and like I said just yesterday, I never even thought about that. I know we've been talking about sidewalks, but to hear that story, that is something I want to go for and talk about. There's several things with um, animals in control. Because first of all, I live out a little bit from the city, so we have deer and all of those good things. I want to know why that system doesn't work as well as it should. When people call you and tell you they have a problem with a wild animal, why we get to run around and stuff. So I'm listening and I'm taking notes, and I will continue to do that. When I get elected, I'm going to stay a member of my community. I'm not going to disappear. This is who I am. I go to events. Like I said, right now I'm president of one of the local organizations. I don't intend to change that. I'm involved in several organizations. I don't intend to change that. I volunteer at the high school I retired from. I don't intend to change that. People are going to see me. Um, all I ask is that when you approach me, please do so with the same kindness and respect that you would want me to approach you. I'm willing to listen. Trust me, anybody knows me. I always tell people God gave us two ears and one mouth. We need to listen more and talk less. So I will be there. I intend to be the same person that I am now.
In this divided political climate, how do you plan to work across party lines to achieve results for District 54 and the state of Texas?
Thank you. The same thing I just said. We have to learn to listen to each other because many times we're saying the same things, just using different words. But we cannot, and it really still bothers me, we cannot hear that somebody's a Democrat or a Republican and assume the way they think. For example, I went to a meet and greet out in Rogers, and I was talking to this gentleman, and he asked me what I stood for, and I told him I was against vouchers, and I said I was for women's rights. And then when I got to affordable health care, he reached out, shook my hand, and says, "Okay, I can't vote for you." And I said, "Why, sir?" And he said, "Because you just said you believed in government-run health care, where you get to pick, where we don't get to pick our own doctor." And I said, "I didn't say that. I
Mm.
said affordable health care." And so when we talked through it, he goes, "Oh, well, that's what he believed in." And so at the end of it, I said, "See, you misjudged me, didn't you?" He said, "Yes, ma'am, I did." I said, "See, this is why we have to listen to each other and talk to each other. You'll find that we're more alike than we are different." And he reached out and he gave me a great big hug and he said, "You are absolutely right, ma'am." He said, "I thought I knew how I was going to vote." He said, "But now I got to go home and really think about it."
Oh,
And that's what I want. I want folks to understand. I'm a teacher, so I have never had a class that would come in that everybody liked each other. Let's be honest. So you got to set some ground rules. One of them is you could never use the word "shut up" in my classroom.
mm.
We always talk to each other with kindness and respect. I'm gonna treat you the way I want to be treated. So I call them yes, 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 ma'am, no, sir, the whole nine yards. Now I also call them honey and baby and all that. I'm just that person. But what I'm saying is we can disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable. And when we come to the table, you tell me what your area needs. I'm going to tell you what my area needs. And I'm more than sure somewhere in there, they need the same things. Now, are we going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time? Nobody can do that. But are we going to work for the majority of people for the state of Texas? That should be our goal. And hopefully those that are still angry are still going to benefit from what we're working on and coming together to accomplish.
Okay. I want to go back right quick on school vouchers. What we were talking about earlier. Somebody posed a question saying, can school vouchers be used for homeschooling?
There is the only thing is the voucher for homeschool is $1,000. It's not a whole lot of money. It's only it's $1,000. Um,
Okay.
and
Okay.
again, you know, um, there are a lot of good homeschools out there, but and how they use the money, but we have no oversight. So can we sit here and say that the vast majority of them are going to be actually using it for the betterment of their children? We don't know because there's no oversight. Like I said, I have no problems with any kind of educational systems. I just say if we're putting money into them, we need to know, we need to have oversight, just like we have in the public schools. So therefore, I do not believe in vouchers because we cannot do that to private entities.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. I mean, boy, you know, all this stuff you're saying is we're educating the voters out there right now. Just like you said, that guy didn't know, and then you explained to him, and y'all was on the
Mhm.
same page. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of the problem because they look at you as being on one party where you're gonna be like this. Well, even know what you're gonna say, they assume.
Oh, I had a lady yesterday. First of all, she said to me, I went to, shake her hand. Oh no, you people believe this, and and I just looked at her and I said, and I could never vote for you. And I said, well, ma'am, that's the beauty of America. We have a choice. I said, and that's your choice. And I think because I didn't react angry back, she got worse. She absolutely got hot. I mean, I couldn't believe how angry she got
Mm.
and stormed off. And I was just like, have a great day. Thought it was funny. I was like,
Yeah,
where have we gotten in this that we can't even talk to each other?
I know. I know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, I
We
do.
we, we have to make our way back. We
Yeah,
have
we
to.
do.
We
We
have to.
definitely
We
do.
have to make our way back.
Well, Ms. Dawn Richardson, I appreciate you taking time out, coming on the show, letting us
Hmm.
know where you stand, because that is part of the problem we have going on right now. Everybody says they don't know where people stand, but when you
Hmm.
come up like you did and you tell everybody exactly where you stand, they can go back and say, "Well, I don't know where Dawn Richardson stands, what her stands are."
Absolutely.
You just said it
Absolutely.
right here,
I
and
I
that's
am who I am.
go, yeah. And I appreciate that, your honesty, your integrity. So that's what we need more of that in the state of Texas. So
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
thank you very much for coming on the show, and you take care. And I want to hear from you when you win.
All right. Well, I just want to say this. Um, as I stated before, who I am. Again, I am running against my opponent is the author of the voucher bill. So I'm running against the voucher bill. I do not believe in it. I'm running against his politics, not him. I am for a woman's right to choose her own health care. Those choices should be between her doctor, and her God. I want to see affordable health care in this state. I want to shore up the benefits that our veterans have, that I'm not sure if folks are paying attention, but they are trying to erode those. And so we need representation that's going to fight for us. And I want to be that. I'm in this for we. I'm not in this for me because we need to let Texas know that we deserve the representation that thinks like us, that works like us, that
Mm-hmm.
understands us. Because we need to let Texas know that it's a new dawn.
Oh, I like that. Since you said that, that was nice. Tell everybody how they could donate to your cause and all the information they need to how to get a hold of you.
Yes, sir. My website is Dawn Richardson 2024.org. On there, you can volunteer. Please donate. I do have an ActBlue account. If you don't want to use ActBlue, I do have uh, address where you can mail checks to. We need all your support. And then, that also shows the other side and folks who are trying to keep us suppressed that you support your candidates. When they see those donations and they see, how many people donated, it's like, oh, okay, we got to take this person serious. So all donations help. please do. There's a lot more folks to reach out to get that message out, because I'm serious. We need the representation that we deserve. Um, we need to have our voices heard. And the only way to do that is we do need the funds. One of the things running, you learn that quick. It is a money thing because you have to have money for posters and yard signs and postcards and text messages. All of that costs money. So please, if you can, again, it's Dawn Richardson, 2024 .org. I'm also on Facebook. And I'm also on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok. My campaign manager made me a TikTok. So,
Okay.
yes, sir.
All right, we appreciate it, and you get out there and you start stomping that ground.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you
And
later.
thank you for this opportunity, sir.
Oh, you are
Absolutely. Thank
so
you.
welcome. Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you for watching Texas in Color. Please tune in every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button so you'll be notified each and every time we go on live.